Welcome back to Cryptos Are Us. I am George. We're all George. So, welcome to another Market Open stream. This is the last Friday before July 4th and the very first day of the new month, July 1st. But today I want to talk about, of course, what's going on with Bitcoin and the world economy. Many are saying brace for recession. ECB got some nasty inflation numbers. And of course, us in the US, we already received them. So, how should we handle things? And what is going on in the world of crypto and in the world today? Let's discuss all of these things. So, let's get started. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media. Check out cryptosareus.com and follow the brand new Clips channel. Good morning, guys. Welcome. Happy Friday. We are starting the new month. Starting a new month. Last night I was saying starting a new month on a high note. We have came back down a little bit. Right now we are, we're about to open. It's about 8:30. I think it is 8:30. I lost my reminder. Here we go. Market bell. We're about to open flat. NASDAQ slightly down. S&P Dow, about flat. Let's see how we start out this July. As for Bitcoin, got a little bit of volatility last night. We pumped up around 20,300. As soon as I stopped streaming, it came back down. So it probably just pumped because of my stream, in anticipation of my stream. I'll take credit for that. But regardless, we're at 19.3 right now, right? One thing I have noticed, though, and I'll get to it before Q&A, that some of the sell-off recently we've been seeing has primarily been just with Bitcoin and Ethereum, and several altcoins that actually have been holding better. And I'll give you my theory on why that is in a little bit. But let's look at what's going on today. I think there's several big news for this Friday for you Europeans out there. This is concerning. The ECB's central bank just announced that inflation year to year has hit a record 8.6%. This is an enormous jump. In the U.S., we're right at 8.6%, but month over month jumps have been pretty close, and for the ECB, that's not so much. It was anticipated to be 8.4%, jumped to 8.6, although it was at 8.1. So that's a half percentage jump from just May, right? So obviously, the ECB, Christina Lagarde, they're taking a hawkish tone now. Prior, they were being very, very dovish, said, no, don't worry about rate hikes. That's not going to come until next year. No, that has changed. So there is going to be a rate hike this month and in September for the ECB, although I'm not sure how much, what the set amount is. But yeah, inflation is not just a U.S. thing. I do talk primarily just about the U.S. and U.S. recession and Powell and all that good stuff, right? But, this is around the world. ECB, they're trying to do the same thing. They're trying to stop inflation, right? And it's a very hard thing to do with still supply chain issues going on, with energy prices still high, right? And with the situation we're in right now with so many people preparing or bracing for recession, spending is down, buying is down, companies are starting to struggle. It's tough out there. It's really, really, really tough out there. So Europeans, you better hold on, because this is not just a U.S. thing. This is real, worldwide. All right, so I want to lead off with that. I don't want to talk about Powell. I've been talking about Powell for quite some time. But what else is there? Of course, I mentioned about chip shortage. For those of you guys that are into cars, well, chip shortages is a real thing. This is the reason why you don't see a lot of new cars on lots these days. And if you do, they're marked up 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, $100,000 over some MSRP because chip shortages is still a thing. I don't know why it's so hard to figure out how to produce more chips for cars. But anyways, General Motors, for the first time last year, lost their top spot to Toyota. First time since 1931. Okay, so think about that. And that's because Toyota handled chip shortages better than GM did. But now it's hitting Toyota, so anticipated that GM is going to overtake in terms of selling more cars. But still, it's still a thing. And many people ask me about cars recently. More people have been asking about cars, even some neighbors and stuff. But it's just a horrible time to be buying a car. If you sell a car, it's still a good time. But buying a car, just horrible time. Absolute horrible time. And interest rates are much higher now, too. All right, so chip shortage is still a thing. And not just with cars. Micron, which is a big semiconductor, I mean, they produce a ton. Solid-state drives, they produce RAM, they produce a whole bunch of stuff, chips that's used in a variety of things in a computer or a laptop. They're giving a dire warning. Basically, they're saying that their sales are go like tank, basically, and that's because due to inflation, due to cost of things going up, and due to supply chain issues. So, unfortunately, supply chain hasn't been really getting better. I mean, it seems like by now things should be getting a little bit better, but all these companies are still warning a dire forecast that's coming. So, unfortunately, this is not helping inflation. But once we get this settled, and once things start getting better, shipping times and getting things offloaded from boats and stuff, which is still a problem these days. Hopefully this helps curb inflation a little bit. But this is something that the Feds cannot control. This is something that Powell can't control, something that Lagarde can't control because they just can't. This is out of their reach, right? And that is why you have some very big banks like Goldman Sachs that's still very cautious on the stock market, very, very cautious. And by the way, yesterday I reported that the S&P 500 had the worst first half since 1970, and this confirms the other two indexes. The Dow had its worst first half since 1962, and the NASDAQ had the worst first half ever in its history. So think about that. Think about all the recessions that we had, all the major corrections, all the panic sells, right? Everything that we have seen. We have never seen a worse period for the first half of a year than we have now for the NASDAQ. And for the Dow, it goes back to 1962, and the S&P going back to 1970. So it's bad. Really, really, really bad out there. Really bad out there, right? And that is why Goldman still says, well, be very cautious. And Bank of America still even more bearish, saying brace for recession. Even though we had just the worst first half pretty much ever, but still brace for more, right? The good thing is, unfortunately, this article doesn't have their bear and bull index, which is kind of like the not stock to flow, but the fear and greed index for crypto. They have one measuring the overall, I guess, stock environment, overall economy. And it's a really good one because it shows extreme bearishness and extreme bullishness. But when it is in extreme bearishness, there's a big buy zone. It actually tells you what you're supposed to do. Unfortunately, I don't see that graph anywhere. But it's actually a pretty good one. So hopefully I can find that later. But anyways, yeah, you still have a lot of big banks also basically saying, hey, it's not over. It's going to get worse, right? So bottom line, yeah, it's not that good right now. It's not that good, and it could get worse, right? But you know what? What does that mean? What does that mean for Bitcoin and crypto. Well, obviously, Bitcoin is somewhat related right now, somewhat correlated with what we're seeing. Not somewhat correlated. It is correlated with what we're seeing, right? Obviously, NASDAQ having the worst first half ever in its history of existence is having a toll. And many traders are trading Bitcoin and crypto in line with NASDAQ. But we know Bitcoin is no tech stock. Bitcoin is not a stock at all. It's a technology, yeah, but it's not a tech stock. It's something that's meant to be held, an investment for long term, not short term. So I'm glad to see that there are still major bulls out there still taking advantage. It's quite simple. You want to buy the dip. You take advantage when things are low. So President Bukele of El Salvador just bought another 80 Bitcoin at 19,000. And even though he and someone like Michael Saylor, who just bought another 10 million recently, they're getting laughed at because, well, first of all, Twitter sucks and it's really toxic. That's why I stay off. But second of all, a lot of people are making fun of it, saying, oh, you know what? Look at you guys. You guys keep buying and you keep DCAing and your positions don't look so good, right? But, CZ puts it the best. In crypto, almost every OG had to go through at least one bear cycle where people laughed at them. Those who bought and held in the bear market 2018-19 or 2014-2015 are fine today, and that is true. And that is 100% true. And Bukele and Saylor will be fine. And this is something that CZ himself had to go through as well, although he didn't start Binance way back in the day. But, he sat through a few of these as well as I have. And there's many others that sat through from 2012, right? And obviously those guys are now freaking billionaires. So, yeah, even though there's many people that like to ridicule, they like to spread misery and point the fingers. You know what? This is the right way to do it, and the way to do it if you want to win at Bitcoin, right? Or the game of crypto. And here's a good example. Tim Draper, who's also a big Bitcoin bull, but one of the most prominent tech investors out there. Not many people remember this, but he bought, I forgot how many million. Well, not how many million. How many thousand Bitcoin? Like the FBI, I think they confiscated all this Bitcoin from the Silk Road, and they auctioned it off. And I remember reading about Tim Draper winning the entire lot. He just bidded and just won, right? He paid $18.7 million. That is now worth $500 million today. I would say that's a pretty good return in just 8 years. Okay, I know many people want to make quick buck with Bitcoin in 1 week, in 6 months, maybe in 1 year. Anything over 1 year is too long. But I would say this is pretty good. This is more than 10x. Okay, so Tim Draper obviously is not hurting with Bitcoin being at 19,000, right? So this is the way to do it. The OGs or the mega whales, the ones that have succeeded, are simply the ones that bought and held, and it's always going to be like that. All right, so there's that. And then, of course, in terms of Bitcoin metrics and models, there's just a lot. There's a lot that shows this is a great buying opportunity. Right now, there's so many of these that has measured previous lows, previous bottoms, right? Here's one NVRV, which is showing the same thing. It's at an absolute bottom, 4-year trend. Basically, this is measuring like the 200 weekly moving average, right? Yes, we are right there, right? This is good. Here's one I showed about how much stable coins, how high it is versus how low Bitcoin is, and there's usually a negative correlation. Does that mean we're going to get flipped? Yes, maybe, possibly. And here's one that's measuring something else, Nupal, which also indicates capitulation and basically oversoldness, and we are at the same point as 2020. So think about that, right? So in terms of models and metrics, still bullish right now. All right, and then last two things. Supposedly Celsius, there's this other company called Bank to the Future with Simon Dixon. I'll be honest, I don't really trust the guy, and he has a vested interest in Celsius because supposedly he's a 5% a holder of Celsius, so then I guess he does have a vested interest. But he's coming out with these like 3 proposals to help Celsius, and supposedly Celsius reached out to him for help. And a lot of the things he's mentioning is about, well, creating a new token and restructuring into a new company, and somehow, paying the depositors back with new funding or new tokens. I don't like this idea of new tokens. I don't know why crypto companies, once they fail, they think it's a good idea to issue another token, thinking that there's confidence in the new token, and somehow they could use that to repay back old token holders. There's this like theme that's going on here, and it's not right, and it doesn't even make any sense, right? So I don't agree with any of the restructuring that talks about creating some new token and somehow using the funds from that to repay the old. The reason why Simon Dixon and Bank to the Future thinks this is a good idea is because I guess they take credit for helping Bitfinex come out with their new tokens. And those tokens arguably should not have come out, and Bitfinex should have gone down a long time ago. And the reason why we have iffiness over Tether, guess why? Because Bitfinex part of it. Why is Leo around? Is because Bitfinex screwed up $800 million. They created a Leo token, right? And somehow they were able to convince people to buy it, right? So it's like, just because you have one bad actor or one bad apple that succeeded creating new tokens and save themselves doesn't mean that everyone should try to follow that model, right? So Celsius should not come out with another token just to raise funds to pay back. It's an endless cycle of wrongness, and yeah, so I don't think it's a good idea. And then on the counterpart, BlockFi. So yesterday it was reported that supposedly FTX will buy them for pennies on the dollar for $25 million. Zach Prince, co-founder, said no, that's not true. So today there's another company called Lend that, rather than trying to buy them outright, is setting them up with another $400 million round of loan and $50 million in equity, and buying sizable ownership, but not buying them out completely. So it does seem like FTX is going to survive without creating a token. But let's see what happens, whether or not FTX will raise their bid or what. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried, like, I don't know. Can't put my finger on it, but they're just like too nonchalant, like throwing money out there like it's nothing, right? There's something to that. All right, guys, that is it. Let's do some Q&A. We're getting a nice bump right here, 19.5. Maybe you could get back to 20,000 by the end of the stream. Where's the U.S. market at right now? NASDAQ is up slightly. U.S. market is up slightly. We are heading into July 4th weekend, right? And long weekend. And Monday is July 4th for those of us in the U.S. So I expect this weekend to be very, very, very light in volume. And I apologize if you guys hear background noise, because I have some guys working on my front steps right now. But yeah, volume should be relatively low. Not relatively low. It should be extremely low. Extremely low this weekend, which could be good. Because when you have low volume, you could get some good volatility. You could get some good movement, right? So this week be interesting. This weekend will be interesting. I'll still stream on Saturday and Sunday. I'm not sure if I'm going to be streaming on Monday. Obviously, no market open on Monday, but yeah, I'll probably throw a stream on July 4th. I don't think I'm doing anything this year. I usually have a party, but not this year. So we'll see. James says, I consider Sam Bankman-Fried like Justin Sun. You can trust him. I don't. Yeah, I'm not saying. No, I don't think he's like Justin. I think, well, first of all, he's way smarter than Justin. Justin just got in at the right time. and he was just right place at the right time. Sam Bankman-Fried, I have no doubt, is much smarter, but I have my doubts about how he's making his money right now, right, and how it could actually be hurting the industry, and that's why he's able to do what he's doing right now. So I don't know. I'm just speculating, just going with my gut. Mika, hey George, I'm thinking about using Gemini and Exodus Treasure as a primary storage out of the bear market. What's your opinion? If you're using Exodus and you're combining with Treasure, then it's pretty safe, right? So basically, it's integrating with your hardware wallet. I would say that's the safest, though. I've never used it in that. I never used that combination before, but that's the best way to do it. You could use Exodus just as a normal wallet, desktop wallet. Not the safest way to store crypto that way, but from your Treasure, it's good. Yeah, so I don't think anything's wrong with that. NMCT, during the 2008 recession, the market bounced 21 times, up 20% on the way down. How bad do you think leverage traders would get this recession? I mean, leverage traders have been really, really, really bad. I don't even know the total amount. If you look at the liquidations, man, it has been brutal. All right, this is just going back to April. All right, and look at, I mean, these spikes are enormous. Each one of these tall spikes is like 700 million. So you add this up, how many billions is this? This is like at least 5 billion. Just on the long side, you add the short side is probably still another 3 or 4 billion. That's 10 billion right there. And who's winning? Who's winning with these liquidations? The exchanges. The exchanges are collecting their fees. If you add all this up, I don't know the total, but maybe it's like 10, 20 billion. All right, and this is just going back to April, not even going back to January. If you go back to January, it could be like 50 billions worth of liquidations. And, if you look at exchanges, they make what? 2-3% on every trade, right? You do 2-3% on the billions. I mean, they're the ones winning. People that are playing leverage, they're not really winning. Overall, it's balancing out. You may win one day, you lose the next day, then you win again, you lose. I mean, even on look at this. My case in point here. You look at Bitcoin falling right here in June, right? You would think that only longs got liquidated. No, look at the shorts. Short liquidations was sky high at that point too. So both sides are getting wrecked. It's just that longs are getting a little bit more wrecked, but even shorts are getting wrecked, right? So who's winning? Exchanges, which is why I'm surprised we're hearing about so many exchanges struggling and having to lay off people because they're making their fees no matter what. They're making tons and tons and tons of fees. So, yeah, so that's why I'm quite surprised by it. But anyways, yeah, liquidation's still happening every single day. I'm new here. What's with the joke of the XRP commercial? I mean, it's self-explanatory. You should you should know why it's a joke. And look up Serum Labs because that company went belly up and not good at all. It reminds me a lot of the new Solana phone. Max, this is the fourth time I've written to you about STEPN. Although you do not understand the project at all, I inform you now that they have a collaboration with Bored Ape Yacht Club. Well, good for you. Good for you. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, Max. If you believe in them so much and you understand them completely, right, why do you need to share that with me? You don't need to share that with me. Obviously, you think you know more than me about STEPN, and if you're doing better, then great. Pat yourself on the back. But I'll take your $10. Thank you. But sending a super chat like that is worthless to me. It's not going to make me look at it. It's not going to make me change my mind. So, stop it. Butch, good long-time listener. Good stuff. Is DeFi Kingdoms dead? Do you think we have hit bottom? Yeah, I don't know if DeFi Kingdom's dead. Hopefully they're not. I hear that a lot of people have been still buying their heroes. They've been selling and trading heroes left and right. I never got into Heroes. I was staking before. I mean, I don't think they're dead. It seems like they're still working and thinking about where to move their project to because they don't want to be on Harmony anymore. So I don't think they're dead. Will they recover? Sure. I think they will. It may just take a long, long, long time. Westbit, hey, I appreciate that. By the way, just to throw us out there, I don't know if any of you guys are Westworld fans. They just all of a sudden came out with Westworld season 4, and I had no clue what's going on because Westworld season 3 ended like 5 years ago. I have no clue what's going on, and I don't know who the man in black is anymore, William, because I thought he was killed by a clone of himself, and I don't know who the clone is or whether or not it's still Dolores in there. It's one of those shows that should have just died. I don't know why HBO brought it back. The first 2 seasons was great. Season 3 was horrible, and now season 4 is off to a really horrible start. Anyways, just want to rant about that. Yeah, Zach, I agree. Westworld season 1 and 2 was so out there, so unique. It was amazing. And then season 3 just turned into one of those things where, oh, you know, someone's trying to take down the world, someone is trying to fix it, and blah, blah. It's like the same premise of like every other show we have seen, right? I don't know what they're doing in season 4. But anyways, Black Mirror is amazing. I don't know if they're coming out the new season, hopefully, because there's really nothing on Netflix these days. Crypto boy, are we going to be in recession? Yeah, I think we're already in recession. There's no doubt right now we're in recession. It's just that GDP numbers has not come out yet to confirm it. It will soon, and it will confirm that we are already in recession. There's no way we're not in recession when the Nasdaq had the worst first half ever in its history. Just think about that, right? It's just not possible. And the Dow had the worst first half since 1960, and S&P had the worst first half since 1970. Don't tell me that we're not in recession already. We are. The question is, how bad is this recession going to get? Is it going to get much worse? Hopefully not. I've never got myself watching Stranger Things. I just think it's a weird show. It started way too slow. Season 1, I couldn't get past it. And then it's like I don't like watching kids shows too, or shows that's based on kids. So bring back Stargate SG-1. I would love to see that. Although they're all so old now, so I don't know if they'll make. I don't know, but I thought all the Stargate shows were fantastic. SG-1 was the best. Atlantis was decent, and the other one, the newest one, Universe, or yeah, I think Universe had premise, started slow. It had galaxy or what's the other show, Galactica or something. It was close to that. I love. Like in terms of a space kind of like sci-fi show, SG-1 I thought was the best. But these days, the new Star Trek shows on Paramount Plus are awesome. Even though the new one with Pike is really awesome, and the new Star Wars shows on Disney Plus are really awesome too. But back in the day, I thought SG-1 was the best. What do you think about Bradley Beal getting a Supermax? It is what it is. He just wants to get paid. That's all. What is it? I saw Jokic get his Supermax. He's getting paid like $52 million a year. It's crazy how much these guys are getting in the NBA now. 50 plus million a year now. Wow. It's hard to imagine a bad recession when there's still so much money sitting on the sidelines. A bad recession would be people to use that money to survive. No, that would be depression. Not recession. We have been in plenty of recessions. There's plenty of rich people out there. A lot of rich people out there, no matter what, that have money on the sidelines. But I think what you're describing is depression when people are struggling to really make ends meet. And right now, we're not there yet. And hopefully we never get there. Um, but yeah, I think it's a little bit different. The Boys is like Marvel for adults. Yes. Very gruesome. I can't wait for today's episode. So right after this, I'm going to go watch it. Yes, BitBoy can sue Celsius. Yeah, BitBoy has some, I know Ben, he received a letter from Celsius, cease and desist, because based on the conversation he had with his rep, which told him that in order to pay off his loans, he couldn't use his own crypto in his account. He had to deposit new crypto. So that pissed off BitBoy. He released, I guess, the conversation, and they told him to stop it. At this point, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to end. What are your thoughts on Shibarium? I haven't heard anything new about it. I know that's their like new. I think that's their layer 2 or their new NFT game, their metaverse, one of the two. But they're working on it. They're working on their new metaverse on top of their layer 2, and if successful, it'll be good. I mean, I like Sheeb. I've been saying I like Sheeb more than Doge for that reason, because it seems like they're trying. They're not just staying being a meme coin. They're trying to change themselves to be more like any other L1 out there, right? Unlike Doge right now, it's just riding the coattails of Elon, and that's pretty much it. There's nothing else going for Doge. Even though Elon could carry Doge very far, but I like seeing Sheeb and how they're actually doing something versus Doge that they're just doing nothing. Can Luna Classic reach $1? No, it cannot. Just drop it, leave it. It's dead. Don't try to get involved with it. You're just gonna get burned. Do you think house prices will go down? I'm thinking so, but I've talked to a couple industry experts, people that are in mortgages and housing, and they're still saying to me, at least in my area, that demand outweighs supply. Even though there are some houses that are still dropping in price, but there's still a lot more buyers at this point than sellers. And that's surprising me. I figured by now, with mortgages being more than double than earlier this year, demand should be like just cut off. No, that's not the case. So they're actually telling me that it's still going to continue to be strong, especially right now. We're in spring, moving into summer, and that's traditionally when housing is the strongest. It'll be carried through, and I guess we'll see. Maybe by the end of this year, it'll start getting really weak, depending on how the economy is. But right now, what I'm hearing is demand is still very strong. Will Litecoin be successful in the future? I will say just stick with Bitcoin. Litecoin can be successful, but it'll never be as successful as Bitcoin. So why not go with the best, right? The two are essentially the same. There's rumors that Kevin Durant wants to get traded to the Lakers. Oh, no. Although that would be interesting to see him, as he's getting pretty old. One old man playing with another old man, which is LeBron, right? And LeBron would embrace it. LeBron's legacy is already set. He's either number 1 or 2 in most people's books. So his legacy is set. As for Kevin Durant, he has no legacy. His rings are with asterisks. And, if you go to the Lakers with AD, him, and LeBron, they are winning no matter what. Everyone else can be bench players. They're going to be winning. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. The last Doctor Strange movie was trash. I didn't think it was trash. It was bad in the sense that they introduced characters. Okay, it's been long enough, so I'm going to talk about it. They introduced characters that were just killed like instantly by Wanda. And if Wanda was really that powerful, then she could have killed all of them instantly without even fighting. So it didn't make a whole lot of sense. And Wanda shouldn't have never turned evil because she had her own show on Disney Plus where she came to the realization, okay, she shouldn't have kids, and that's just her life, and she's okay with it. And all of a sudden, they make a film where she's the ultra villain trying to go see her kids. It doesn't make any sense. It broke the continuity, right? So from that perspective, it didn't make a whole lot of sense. But overall, I think the film wasn't that bad. It could have been a lot better. I had much higher hopes for it. Bro, can you advise if Trust Wallet is considered self-custody? Yes. Yes. It stores this private key on your phone. You get a recovery phrase that you could use and use that to recover your private key if you needed to. Yeah, so it is. Eternals was a horrible movie. I did not enjoy that at all. I thought that was stupid. The only good thing about Eternals was in the Celestial that was about to pop out of the earth, and you see the scale of how big it is, right? That was mind-boggling, like how big a Celestial is. But outside of that, I thought the whole movie was horrible. Endgame is still the best Marvel film to date. Yeah, the Spider-Man movies haven't been bad. I think the Spider-Man movies have been good. But, yeah, I agree. I think that was the best Marvel. Yeah. The Loki series is good. Moon Knight was a weird series. I didn't enjoy that a whole lot, but I watched it anyways. Yeah, I think the next big one that would be really good is Thor. I think that's coming out right after the 4th of July. So I think that one will be really good. Hopefully. Hopefully Thor doesn't die and Jane somehow becomes a new Thor. I know in the comic books that's how it's supposed to be. Like Lady Thor takes over, right? I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping that Thor is still Thor, right? But who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? All right, guys. That is it. I'll let you guys go overall. Still scary out there. U.S. market is turning slightly, barely now, holding on to green. Bitcoin is at 19.4, wherever it is, right? Just a lot of scariness right now. A lot of headwinds that we're going up against. But doesn't mean we should give up. We got to do what we got to do. Buckle down, focus, have patience, right? And DCA if we can, right? We will get through this together, but in the meantime, enjoy the ride. All right? Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Since today is Friday, I'm not going to stream tonight, but I will be streaming tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.